Hello YouTube, welcome back to this week's altcoin update. Today we're going to be taking a look at FET, F-E-T, PYTH and XRP. PYTH, who creates a coin called PYTH? So I'll be taking a deep dive into these three coins and looking at some technical levels to see if we can find any potential trade setups. Remember, before we get started, nothing discussed today is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is all for educational purposes only. And now that's out of the way, let's get into some zero bullshit tier and no moonboy stuff, shall we? Right, so first is fetch.ai, FET. We've looked at this so many times. It's been very strong so far, and right now, obviously, we're experiencing a bit of a pullback. Since the highs, we are down 32%. So, what's next? Okay, well, where we are right now looks like a bit of a crucial level. So, first and foremost, this looks like it channels. So I'm going to throw a channel on there, and yes, it does channel, okay? So from an Elliott wave perspective, it's not looking amazing, but this can quite easily turn around, and it's a natural place to get a rejection. Obviously, it's a bit of an untidy high, is this, looking on the daily chart. It's a bit of an untidy high, but obviously we do have an ultimate high here, which ended up being a swing failure pattern of the previous high, and the ultimate high coming in on the 26th of Boxing Day. So we'll look at if we have any more confluence up there for a reason behind a high, the 1.133 Elliott wave fib. So we do have a good high there. So where we're going to look for a bounce. Okay, so first and foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this pivot low here for the time being because we're still within this impulsive section here. I'm not going to look back here yet. We're just going to start off here, and I want to see where the volume is. Okay, so anyone that's a supply and demand style trader, order block trader, whatever you want to call it, you'll see here, obviously we have this, and obviously some people will call this a order block, whether it's on a daily, a 3-day, or even a weekly perspective. But for myself, volume rules, and we can see here that we've got a high volume node where we are right now. We've just, yesterday, we managed to hold outside of this value area high, and today we're just poking back into it. So first and foremost, if we're going to continue with any sort of bullish price action, I don't mean new all-time highs, I mean having a local low for a bounce up back into this consolidation here. This is the key area. Okay, so this range that we are approaching right now, let's use the rectangle tool, is pretty key. Okay, this is key. Now, does this mean that you'd automatically bid this, or I'd automatically bid this? No, it doesn't. Because what I'd want to see now, obviously, we are starting to see some weakness. We are breaking some higher time frame structure. We've broken any structure on the weekly. Nope, the weekly still remains up, but the daily is starting to show some signs of weakness. So what I want to see in this, if this is going to be bullish, is I'd want to see price start to show some strength. Now, if price action starts to show some strength, bear in mind we are looking on a daily, so this isn't going to happen all at once. Okay, so there's no rush, and I think that's where people go wrong. They just don't have patience. The thing that sets me apart from other traders is the fact that I'm quite happy to sit back and wait. If I don't get the entry criteria that I'm looking for, bear in mind I have 3 set entry criteria methods when I'm looking for trades. If I don't get one of those 3, then I've got no trade. Even if that means I miss a move, that's absolutely fine because it doesn't bother me, because there's always another setup on the horizon. But locally, this area, if you are bullish on the asset, needs to hold. Because if this region doesn't hold, and I'd even come as far down low as this wick being on the 11th of December, I'd even come as far down as that for a potential swing failure pattern of these lows. But if this doesn't hold, then we're going to start looking down a lot lower. So let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of this box. If this doesn't hold and you don't see any sign of strength within this, then we can start looking further down. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw on a fib pull from the absolute low to the absolute high. We can see here. So we do have this golden pocket here, but as we can see around this golden pocket, it's within a bit of a low volume node. So it's not my favourite place, if I'm being honest, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it can't have a reaction there, because it could have a reaction there. That could be the absolute low, and then it moons up to all-time highs. It could do. But for me, personally, I prefer this zone down here, and once again, it's because that's where the volume lies. So if this current area doesn't hold, then the next area I'll be looking for is down here. So this is coming in roughly, loosely speaking, around 35 cents up to 40 cents. So this is the next zone to be aware of. Now, once again, the same rules apply. If we get price into here and then start to see some market structure shifting, and we start to see some bullish signs, then there's a potential long trigger. If you don't see any of that, then you sit back and wait, and that's all I'll do, and I'll wait until I start looking back down towards this zone down here. And a lot of people are going to be watching this now saying, Spitty, crazy, it's never going to come all the way down there. I don't know if it's going to come down there. All I know that if it does come down here, then this would be the next interesting place for a reaction. So all I'm looking for is I'm looking for the areas on the chart where it's likely going to cause a reaction. And on this, I'm purely using volume. So we can see here, we're likely going to get a reaction around this zone. If that doesn't hold, the next likely spot would be down here. If that doesn't hold, the next likely spot will be down here. If that doesn't hold, then we're targeting these overall lows. So either one of these, here, 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 they'd be my places that I'd be interested in potentially taking longs. Now, what if it does bounce from here and starts coming up? Well, if it does bounce from here and starts coming up, again, we're relying on the volume profile here, and we can see here, we've got a very high volume node around 72 to 73 cents. Okay, but this whole zone here is sticky. So if we do start coming back up, I wouldn't be expecting that price is going to blast straight through and moon. What I'd be looking for is coming back into this consolidation here, where the point of control is, up to, as I said, around 72. And if you get some sort of reaction there, then we've potentially got a hedge position. And if you are long from lower, then that'd be a take profit zone. And that's how I'd play this, just level to level, until price action breaks out of this channel. I wouldn't be getting too excited. Price action breaks out of this channel, then we can start looking back here, and realistically, if we do break out of the channel, then we can start targeting these highs here, which would be just over $1. A nice round number, because that's what people like. Okay, so that's how I'll be playing this for the time being. Okay, not overly bearish, I'm not overly bullish, but as long as we remain within previous historic price action, we have levels to play. Just like where we are right now, we are within historic price action. So even if price goes up, we still have support and resistance levels above us, or resistance levels, should I say, to contend with. So I don't get overly excited. That's just how I play the market, level to level. So that's what I'll be looking at on FET. Next, PYTH. Come on, who creates a coin called PYTH? Will I get demonetized for saying it again and again and again? Right, so I'm guessing this is a relatively new coin, because all the charts that I checked all go back to November. First and foremost, let's just throw it on a volume profile. Let's see where all the volume lies. There we go. So effectively, it is range bound at the moment, with the value area low being roughly, loosely speaking, the local range lows, and that's around 33 cents, and the value area high coming in roughly around 46, 47 cents, being the range highs. Now, if, once again, this is something that I personally wouldn't be trading because it's too new, I have no interest in doing this. If we are going to see any form of strength, ideally, you want this value area low to be holding. Okay, if price, again, I'm looking at the daily right now, but you'd be zooming into a lower time frame, like the 1 hour or the 15 minute. If you start to see some signs of strength within this zone here, then you've potentially got a long trigger. Now that long trigger, you'd be looking up back at the point of control, back at around 39 cents. If it manages to clear that, then we can start looking up towards taking the overall highs first and foremost, which will be around 44 cents, and then coming back up to around 47 cents for the value area high. Now, what if this doesn't hold here? If this doesn't hold, then realistically, we can start looking back down at the next high volume area. We can see here, next high volume node, which is roughly coming in around 27 to 28 cents. If this zone doesn't hold around here, 27 to 28 cents, then unfortunately, if you are overly bullish, then you're realistically looking down to target those lows here. So if we come down and we get no reaction in this zone, then you'd be looking to take the overall lows. And if it gives a swing failure pattern like this, now again, I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, it's one thing that you will get with me. If you're watching this channel, you're not going to get crystal ball shit, because I do not know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. No matter how much they pretend to tell you they know what's going to happen. If it came down here and took the lows, then get your market structure change and you reclaim of those lows, then there's potentially a long trigger. Now, once again, you'd be playing that back up towards value area low unless that moves. And then after that, you'd be looking back up towards point of control. It's just level to level environment. Until you start breaking out of this value area and clearing these local highs, once again, I'm looking on the daily time frame here. So you start clearing above these highs and reclaiming this as support, there's no reason to be looking at crazy prices. If you get above here, then we can start looking at higher prices. But for now, we are trapped within a range. Okay, this range could break lower, this range could break higher. But while we're in the range, that's what we trade. So that's PYTH. XRP. Don't know why people still request XRP. Still baffles me to this day. Okay, so following on from some very old TA that's on here. Obviously, this was about the crazy spike. I think it was this to do with the court case or whatever it was. People get overly bullish, and then obviously we had a massive rejection from a very, very, very simple trend line. I'm not even a trend line trader, but it's such a clean rejection. Grabbed the liquidity above this high into this trend line, and then obviously it rolled back over. Then we've had another bounce up into said trend line, and then it's rolled back over. Okay. And where we're going next? Well, we're back within this range. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this volume profile all the way along. I'm going to get rid of that squiggle, and we can see where we are. Now we can see that we've had a bit of a reaction here, a value area high. Okay, so what's happened right here is we had a reaction at value area high. We've just taken out the lows from January 3rd, bit of a swing failure pattern. Now, does that mean instant entry long? No, it doesn't, because you'd have to zoom in and look at the order flow to see what's happened down here. Have we got people trapped? Have we got people trying to short this and trap down here? Or do we start getting change of market structure locally? And then we've got the opportunity for longs. But if we've got the opportunity for longs, then we're just longing straight into range high. At range high, if we get up here, then show some weakness, and there's an opportunity for a short trade there, because it's just a support and resistance level. It's been resistance, 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 resistance. Broke through, came back through, and once again, it's just resistance. Back through, tested as support, and then we've broken back through. So can we assume that that's going to be resistance? Well, we don't want to make a full assumption, but initially, you'd consider it resistance until proved otherwise. If we start continuing further down, then first and foremost, I'd be looking to take the liquidity from at least these lows and more likely this low here. So therefore, that means I'd be looking down at the EQ. Now, if the EQ gives some sort of reaction, then great, happy days, there's potential for a long trigger. If that doesn't give us a reaction, then I'll be looking back down at the point of control, which is then coming down at 37 cents. At the point of control, once again, the same rules apply. Do you get a bullish reaction? Do you get a local change in market structure? Are there a load more longs coming in? Now, by longs, I don't mean bringing up my volume bars at the bottom of TradingView, and this is, again, where people go wrong. Looking for a green, or in my case, a white, volume bar, that doesn't mean bullish volumes coming in. That just means volumes coming in. Because this doesn't tell you if it's longs or shorts. That's where a lot of people go wrong. A lot of people go wrong with this. It just tells you overall volume, total trading volume, transactions. But if you're looking at order flow and CVD, then you start to see lots of people either A, shorting down here and price doesn't go lower, or B, start to see a lot of people aggressively buying this and price starts rising with that change of structure, then there's a potential for a long. And if you don't get that, simple as you're looking back down at range lows. It's just a range, one big range to trade. Likelihood is, if this trend line is going to still be in play and we do get acceptance back into this range and we don't manage to break out to the upside, then we can just look to play this range and then eventually it'll pop. What does that mean? If it pops, that's it, new all-time high? No, it just means that it pops outside of this trend line and then we're still within the range. Okay, until we get out of this range, no need to go very excited. And once again, It's an asset that's underperformed again after again and again. And I know there's going to be comments down below saying, oh, court case, oh, manipulation, whatever. It's a very old coin that's never performed very well after its initial pump. You just get some very odd YouTubers and personalities that seem to continue to talk about XRP because there's enough people that seem to continue to put their life savings into it and never get returns. So that's it. Nice and easy. If we are to break out of this, then get outside of this trend line here, then there's a potential for higher prices. And once again, all you're doing is just targeting the overall highs. Do we get outside of here, over there, then you get the rejection? It's possible. We're just going for the liquidity. Okay. Once again, it's quite thin up here, by the way. So your next major zone is here around 62 cents. Right. Hopefully you've learned something today. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing and do us a favor and hit that like button if you've enjoyed the content. And until Thursday, gang, when the Bitcoin video is out, as you were, bye-bye.